Alright, dude, go for it. Alright, that was cool. If you can stomach it again, that'd be cool.
Ready?
Yeah. Relax.
How to make cheap dragon wings controlled by body posture. You can do this project for $18 US if you use plastic garbage bags and scotch tape for the membranes. I'm going to show you how to make very light and strong costume wings. How strong? That's strong. In this video's more information section, there's a diagram set explaining why and how the wings work. You may want to pause the video and review the diagrams to understand what is being constructed. Supplies. This list is in the more info section, but to sum it up, the wing is made of a PVC skeleton controlled by wire, then fleshed out with a wing membrane and hundreds of scales. The membrane may be your cheapest part if you use black trash bags or dollar store shower curtains, or your most expensive part if you use fabric or specialty vinyl. Clear colored vinyl plastic is available at fabric stores for pretty cheap, which is what I was going to use until I saw some really cool fabric on sale. So first, design your wing and choose what material you want for the membrane. I decided on fabric when I saw this shimmery stuff, so I bought it off the bolt at Joann Fabric Store. Spread out your membrane material. That's what will limit the size and shape of your wing. Then, cut the high-temp PVC pipe into 2 pieces to match your design. It'll be the long, moving part of the wing. The reason I'm using high-temp pipe is that it's thin and springy. It's no wider than a Euro cent. Props to my EU viewers, yo. I cut it at an angle so that it would look cooler. It can be cut with a handsaw or with a cable saw, which is a wire saw with handles. Now you cut the 1-inch PVC pipe into 4 pieces to make the lower and upper wing pieces. Next, we have to cut a notch in the 2 upper wing pieces. Start by making a shallow saw cut in the 1-inch PVC. Then, make 2 cuts that intersect with the shallow saw cut. The finished notch should be 1 inch deep on one side and 1.5 inches deep on the other. The notch determines how tightly the wing closes and how wide it opens, so plan before you cut, or make a practice notch with scrap to experiment with. Your measurements don't have to be the same as mine. Now place the high-temp PVC section into the notch, and drill a hole for your bolt to go through. Drill a hole in the end of each high-temp PVC section and thread your cable through it. You can knot it, but you'll have to pull it tight with a hand tool. Crimp the knot in place with your tool of choice so that it won't come undone. Drill guide holes with a slightly smaller diameter than your eyelets, and screw your eyelets into place. How you place your eyelets and how far the wire knot is from the notch determines how your wing will work. See how easy it is when the wing is pulling the pipe downward? But in contrast, how difficult it is when the wire is pulling the PVC down and backward. The more difficult it is to move the wing, the more stress you're putting on the wing structure, and the more likely it is to break. The effect of the wing opening and closing is really dramatic. After testing the skeletons, fuse them in place with PVC cement. Now that the skeletons are complete, lay them on your wing membrane and draw an outline with chalk. I'm making my wingtips and membrane that connects the upper and lower arm out of scraps to reduce waste. Draw an allowance of extra fabric along the top edge of the membrane. This will wrap around the PVC pipe and allow the wing to be attached to the pipe skeleton. Now glue the fabric onto the pipe by folding the allowance over and gluing it with hot glue. Press the overlap firmly so the melted glue spreads into the fabric and will hold it tightly. Snip with scissors to let the eyelet come through the fabric. Don't worry about trying to glue the fabric to the pipe. Now cut the membrane that connects the upper and lower arm from fabric. Make sure your wing is closed when you choose the size of the membrane piece. I'm gluing a tab to the top of the membrane and gluing that tab heavily around the high-temp PVC pipe section. Rudy doesn't give a damn about my video, but he does really like to chew on the shiny fabric. Once your parrot is out of the way, glue the connecting membrane piece to the upper and lower arm with hot glue. With the membranes in place, it's time to add scales. This is the kind of thing where you wake up early and spend an entire day cutting and gluing foam. Friends who are willing to help can make short work of an otherwise tedious process. Have several different pairs of scissors you can use so you can switch between pairs and avoid getting blisters. Be efficient with your foam, too. By visualizing how you're going to cut each piece, you can reduce waste. You can also cut out long strips, then layer the strips as you cut out scales, reducing the number of cuts you have to make. Begin gluing the scales into place, creating a shell in the shape you want. By the way, this is how you wad build pottery pieces too. Lots of little pieces become a larger form. You can make muscle bulges, dented scars, anything. To make a rounded edge, put a line of glue on a scale. I've added an extra dot to attach this scale to the one behind it. Press the scale flat onto the fabric. Bend it backwards while pressing down until the glue cools. As you connect these edge scales to the other scales, it will form a rounded shape. Around the notch, don't attach the scales to each other. Instead, attach them only to the fabric. This lets the scales slide over each other as the wing moves. To make a curved claw out of foam, cut a shape, fill the middle with hot glue, and fold it in half. Before the glue cools, stretch and pinch the shape into a curve. Hold it while the glue cools, and the combination of heat and glue will make the curve permanent. This is when I decided to glue on the wingtip panels, then finish the last few scales. Once the scales are done, add details to the membrane. You can make veins using piped acrylic, artist paint in a plastic bag, or colored liquid latex, or colored hot glue, which is what I'm using. I've also cut tears into the wing membrane to give it an aged and ragged look. Hot glue cools in a few seconds, but veins made of acrylic paint or latex will have to dry over a couple of days. So before mounting, let's look over the wing.
C'est une aile magnifique, une grande aile, une aile sans pareil, si belle, si parfaite. Si je pouvais, je l'épouserais, et nous aurions tout plein de petits.
Mounting the wings is easy. Pre-drill 2 holes into your PVC, then use the longest screws you can to hold them in place without pushing the screw all the way through the wood. You may want to sink nuts and bolts into the wood if you feel screws are not secure enough. To make ultra-cheap straps, fold the end of a piece of
duct tape
over and then stick it to something. Unroll a length of
duct tape
and fold it on itself. Then attach your straps with
duct tape.
To avoid them coming loose over time, you should staple or tack the straps in place. Remember to pad the wood block and straps with some socks or something so that it doesn't hurt your wearer. And that's it! You can read the More Info tab if you want to help better understand the design.